We have created an IBM, and within the IBM, I have something which is related to a backup. And look at that. We have you have make it with some budget or some tool which is not a part of SharePoint at all. Even if it is not a part of SharePoint at all, this is something which we still go and insert into the SharePoint. It can be more and more when we actually go into a SharePoint programming. But currently, agenda is not to go inside the programming one. It is simple that how we can go and click and create something which I want to be. So now I have this everything ready with me. We have created a site. We have created. Now in this document management system, what is our requirement? In a document management system, we have to enable versioning and a content approval. Right? So let's go back to your site, which is IBM Global. And within the IBM Global, we are going to enable versioning and a content approval mechanism for my site. Go back to documents now. All right, library. Perfect. Then library setting. We are going to enable versioning. Click versioning. Oh, yeah. So first of all, does the content require an approval? I say yes. Go ahead and enable require content approval. Say yes. Perfect. Now I also need to manage my major and a minor version. So enable create major and a minor version. Let's scroll down. Perfect. And then who can approve the item? So I can give something like that. Any user who can edit this item going to approve it. So select the second one. All right. Now click required document to be checked out. Yes. All right, click OK. Let's test this out. Go back to IBM document management system, upload a document and see what happens. Go to document world. Yeah, upload a document. That's doc demo that day we created. Yeah. Give a comment only in a version comment, maybe a demo. All right. Now this document which you upload here, it is going to visible to some other user. or it is not going to be visible to some other reason. Let's test it out. I'm going to copy this one and come back to my laptop, and I am going to log in with a user called Tim. Oh, because the IP address gets changed, I have to use it. So let me open the same thing here only. I'm going to have a Google. So Tom, try to access the site. Oh, say that site has not been shared. Share this site with Tom. Lost. Only Tom. Let me to have a Tom. Now, when I'm going to click this one. Oh. All right. It's not visible to Tom. Why? Because you remember, until and unless document does not get approved, it is not visible to other user, right? Correct, huh? This document is not visible as of now. Just because this specific document which we have created, it is still not in a visible mode. So when I go to a, and I can go and check that what exactly this document means. So I'm saying that check in, and I say that one minor version. Now retain your document after checking, and I say that okay to proceed. Perfect now. So now it means that the document which I have published here is all okay to be followed. I'm going to publish this now. You say all okay. So what will happen if Tom try to upload a document? Now let's do the same thing, because anyhow Tom have to leave. Now look at that. DC domain is visible to Tom, correct? Why it is visible to Tom? Because the document has been approved and it has been published. Correct? Manik? But we are not able to see this all information into here, because it is only showing me name, modify, and modified by. Correct now? Full flash system is not going to show me. So it means that somewhere this particular view need a modification, and I have to give who has done that, what is the check-in command, check out to created by number of items, the versioning, and all this. So I am going to select this one, and I say all okay. Now here I am able to see that the status, it is saying pending, right? So it means that this document need to be either reject or approved. So what the way we have when someone try to work on a content management system says that content need to approved. But what will happen if this approver is not available? He is on leave. Who can approve this document now? And until unless this approval or approver is not there, we cannot have a document to approve. So it means that this content approval lack a feature where we have multiple approver can approve the document. It's only giving an option to have a single approver. Let's have a break. When we come back, we will see the workflow for multiple approval. All right.
Mhm.
Go bit 5-minute timer. Voila. All good, huh? So what problem we see here with content approval, it basically give me only one level of approval. Correct now? What will happen if the approver is on leave? Who is going to approve? How long it wait for approver to approve? 2 days, 3 days, 24 hours, 1 day? What exactly? Because whenever I upload a document, I need that either my approver approve the document or reject the document. If they reject, they should put a comment. Because of this reason, I reject your document to be approved. This approval, content approval, does not give all this feature. So for that, what we are going to do, we are going to use approval workflow. Now, approval workflow is a separate feature in SharePoint. So what this approval workflow says that, first, approval workflow, it must be enabled at site collection level. What we have to do first, we have to enable this feature which called workflow. Now this workflow require a separate service to enable again on SharePoint level. So it means that when we have a SharePoint, this approval workflow going to use the service application which is enabled at SharePoint level, not at collection level. This service app, which is only meant for a workflow. So what exactly this service app is going to give us? As of now, what the hierarchy we have seen? We see here, we have a SharePoint, and within SharePoint, we create a web application, a web app. And within this web app, we create multiple collection. This is what the hierarchy we work so far. But apart from this web app, there is another service, there is another app which we need to configure at SharePoint level, and we call this as a service app. So there are various services which is by default not enabled at the SharePoint level, and your site collection going to use this web app to run their site collection as a website on whatever the port we define on port 80. But your site collection to have some specific service, for example, a workflow service. Now, workflow service required certain dependencies, some kind of a module or program to run. A search service. Search service also required certain application on which it is going to run. So it means that my SharePoint hierarchy is not as flat as we think, where I have my site collection, and below the site collection we have all different kind of subsites. There is another hierarchy which is we need to configure within SharePoint, which is called service app. And then when we have this service app, respective feature we need to enable at the site collection level. For example, are we looking for a workflow? Yeah. Are we looking for a search service? Are we looking for a document number? Because currently, whatever the document we created, it get a default number. But if I want to put my number, my document ID, we have to enable some extra service within SharePoint. So what the SharePoint hierarchy now look like? We have a SharePoint. Within SharePoint, you need to configure a web application. What web application is going to give you? They are going to give you a feature through which you will run your sites. And what service application is going to give you? They are going to give you a feature through which you enable additional services within SharePoint framework. So it means that when we have a SharePoint, when we try to configure the SharePoint, we have two options. One, are we going to run a plain web app with minimal feature, a basic feature, which is most of the time okay for the customer. But sometimes some specific customer require certain other feature. For example, workflow, search service, document number, how we are going to publish the content, the publishing infrastructure. Now, all these are a separate service. Each service require you to create a service application. So what is the first requirement we have? Whatever the additional service which we want to enable, that service require us to have a service app. And then once the service app is available, we are going to enable a specific service within site collection feature. So let's see in your case what is exactly there. All right, go back to your central site administration, Monica. Not here, central administration portal, which is the first one. Click the first tab, not here. In a browser, click the first tab. Yeah. All right. Let me to help you out. Hold on for a moment. All right. Now here we have an application management. So what is the first thing you are able to see? Web application, right? Remember, we create that day, a very first day, a web application, which is called SharePoint. And what is the meaning of this web application? It is going to configure a website for me in Microsoft Web Server. So it means that this is a SharePoint 80. This run here as a website because this is web application. Now, second, we use the feature which is called site collection, through which we configure different sites. Now, this is the third one, which is called service application. Click manage service application. One second. Yeah. Click manage service. Oh. Open the another browser. Now let me do one thing for you. I think it is gone to a separate server. Let me close this one. So many website has been opened. That's why it's creating a problem. All right. Yeah, I think it's all okay now. Click that one. Manage service application. Let me to click for you. Hold on. I think it's we lost the connection. Yes. So it's open service application. Look at that. What all services by default enable for you? Number one, security token service application. Because of this service, you are able to log into a SharePoint server or SharePoint site. Then I have something which is called a state service application. This state service application is required to run your workflow. But in the future, if you have to create a new service application, you see there on a very extreme left, you have a new button or a new menu. Hit that one. Now, these are the services which we need to enable and configure for a different purpose. So for an example, if I need to configure search service application so that search feature will get enabled on SharePoint, then you have to select the search service application. Now in a SharePoint, you also have a capability where you can translate your page from one language to another language. I understand French, no worry. We can translate the document into a French language. So there are different service application which you need to configure when we want a specific feature to be enabled on SharePoint site collection. So for workflow, which service we require? A state service application, and it is by default installed and also started. Just click any of the service application just to check how it go and deploy. Click any of them. Performance service, all right. Now on the top, it is going to ask you the name. Below, it is going to ask you the database server. And below the database server, it is going to create a separate database where you have an option to configure your performance related metrics. So it means that in SharePoint, we can configure two type of an application. One is called web application. Second is called service application. Both web application and a service application is exactly a part of SharePoint hierarchy. Whatever the additional service we require at the site or a sub-site, we need to configure or we need to enable that feature in my site collection. So now we have deployed the service because service is already deployed, what it is showing here, which is required by my workflow to run. That service is already configured. So we only have to now enable, a SharePoint application within that. Let's wait the connection to come back, or we can do one thing. It's frequently disconnecting. Let me to come back. What is here? Let me to grab the public IP. All right, let me copy this I address and we are going to access it from outside. Looks perfect. Right, yes. Give me a sec. Let me try to access that one from outside. Ping SPV. think written that. Drivers, etc, and then the host file. What we have in a host file, open with notepad. Yeah, this is perfect. Shit. Sorry, this should be in a reverse format. Make a mistake. All right, I think it's all good. Let me to hit that one. Yeah, it's all open now. So let me log in for you. MINEQUE SP admin. And the password 1234. So you can work from outside of server. I think lagging will go away now. Yes, all in your control. First, first we are going to enable that workflow from my site collection feature. So click on a setting button. Go to site setting now. It's pretty fast, right? No lagging. All right, scroll down till you see site collection administrator, right? In a site collection administrator, you have a various things which you can turn on. At this point of time, I am looking for site collection feature. So click the ninth one, I believe, site collection feature. All right.